This is a SportsE Media production, part of QuietLoud Studios, the podcast network where reflection meets amplification.
Here at SportsE Media, I work in the sports department, writing blogs and reaching out to athletes and interviewing them on my podcast, Athlete Chronicles. Big thanks to Jesse Marsh for recommending this internship position to me, and also to Eric Kasimov for believing in me and giving me this opportunity to be a part of this company as an intern. I'd recommend SportsE Media to any sports fan out there. They're doing tremendous stuff in regards to allowing people to look at sports through a more detailed lens with the athletes they have on and talk to, as well as the very qualified individuals they have working on blogs, social media posts, whatever it may be. Believe me, if you are interested in getting involved with podcasts and creating content in general, this is the place to be. You can reach out to them at sportse.media. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Athlete Chronicles, where we talk with athletes who have created history and continue to really be at the top of their game. So before the Olympic Games, at each U.S. swim trials, there are, the swimmers that qualify every time, the Michael Phelps, Ryan Lochte, Katie Ledecky, Missy Franklin, the list goes on. But then there are, the first timers. Some are still in high school and others are working full-time jobs while swimming on the side. Due to, the first-time Olympians, there are many newcomers to the sport, to support their friend or coworker or family member that just qualified for the Olympics. So I actually experienced this firsthand a couple weeks ago when a swimmer from my hometown, Richmond, VA, qualified for Paris in the 100-meter breaststroke, and everyone all of a sudden sounded like they had been, following swimming since they were born. But believe it or not, he and I actually swam at the same club team. Went to the same high school, and for a little bit, actually swam at the same summer league team. So obviously I knew who he was before the trials, but he also is not new to the national or international scene before making this Olympic team. So get ready. He was named to the USA national junior team and the USA national team, qualified for Olympic trials in 2016 while still in high school, finaling in the 400 IM. Medaled twice at the Junior Pan Pacs Championships, was a four-time Big Ten champion in the 4 IM, won the 400 IM at the Pan American Games, qualified for the 2020 Olympic trials, qualified for the World Championships in the 200-meter breaststroke, raced in the ISL, and now, boom, the best of the best made the Olympic team. Now, like I just mentioned, he has quite the resume, and if you want to learn a little bit about dedication, hard work, and perseverance, you should talk to him because he'll definitely know what he's talking about. So please welcome Charlie Swanson.
Thanks for having me. My first podcast, so interested to see how it goes.
Of course. All right. So a couple of days ago, I saw a video that the USA Swimming posted of you and your teammates getting off the plane in Croatia. Now, how has it been, being in training camp, as a whole? I know you're in Raleigh, North Carolina, a couple of days ago before heading off to Europe. So how's that been?
It's been a lot of fun. We were in Raleigh for a week, I believe, or close to it, training at the TAC Titans pool, which is a club team that has 2 long course pools and a 10-lane short course pool. So it was a pretty big facility, and we had a couple of days where people were able to come out and watch. So the stands were full while we were practicing, which was pretty cool, but also kind of weird because I've never been in a practice being viewed by that many people before. But yeah, then we were fortunate enough to hop on a charter to directly from Raleigh to Croatia. We've been here for 4 or 5 days now, and we still have 6 or 7 to go. It's pretty insane. Lucky enough to be able to have come to the same resort we're at in 2022 because we did our training camp before Budapest Worlds that summer. So I've gotten to know how insane this place that we're lucky enough to be able to hang out at is, and all the amenities they have. But the pool is just down the road, and I guess you can call it a historic pool, but it's like right on the Adriatic. It has this big light tower kind of arch thing going over it, so pretty recognizable if you ever see pictures of it. But yeah, training's been fun so far, getting to train with different people and coaches that I've not gotten to train with before. They kind of break you up and assign you to a coach because you're gone for so long, but also still while I do some of my coach's workouts from Michigan, But sometimes I'll mesh into another group. I've swam with the Florida group a few times. But it's fun. It's like every practice is like you obviously know what to expect, but it's also like has the potential to have some like curveballs thrown at you training wise, or like which pool you're gonna get to train at if you get to go outside or go to the indoor pool here. But that's been fun so far. And I guess we're probably over halfway now, but still have a while to go until we leave for Paris. And then even once we get there, it's I think 5 days till I compete. So yeah, it's been fun so far. Definitely a good experience.
Yeah, I mean, you got a long road ahead of you, and I've seen pictures on the USA Swimming account and just pictures from different people's stories. It looks like the complex, the pool is beautiful, and so is just like the surrounding area. So has it really kicked in that you're a United States Olympian yet? I listened to the Swim Swam interview, and now you said it hasn't sunk in yet. What about now that you're actually in training camp in Croatia? A couple of days before you head off to Paris.
I think it has a little bit. I don't know if it fully will until we get to like the village or I get to like see the pool for the first time. But it's definitely kind of like seeping in because Worlds a couple years ago was the only meet that I've been at, did a training camp for. So it's still like it doesn't feel like Worlds because there's a lot more attention on it. So I feel like than normal with like from like again having our practices be watched and just the public in general. But I'm starting to get there. Sometimes I'll like talk myself through the next few days and I'll realize that we're like going to Paris in a few days and then I'll just kind of remind myself and get excited all over again. But I think once we like board the plane to Paris and get settled into the village and get all the gear everyone talks about, I think that's when it'll like really hit me. And I guess I kind of gotta soak it all in fast because I swim day one. But yeah, I definitely since trials it's kind of crept its way in. But I think once we get there and get the whole atmosphere of all the different nations and different sports mingling in the village and like I get to my room and everything, I think that's when it like will hit me. I thought I kind of anticipated being like emotional, but like that still could be coming. I don't know, but I guess we'll have to wait and see. But no, I'm definitely thinking about it all the time, and it's becoming more and more real. But yeah, it's kind of hard to wrap my head around in the beginning, but you're getting there.
Yeah, I know, and just kind of just going off that title, like United States Olympian, like just being able to call yourself an Olympian has just got to be, just such an indescribable feeling. What was it like touching, that wall and seeing that you got second in the 100-meter breast, most likely knowing that you made the team?
Yeah, it was. I think it kind of put me into a state of shock, but I also, I mean, at 2022 world trials, I was going in preparing. I'd been preparing for the 400 IM all year with some breaststroke on the side, and the 200 breast was like the first or second day, and I made the team, so I got that over with, so I didn't have to worry. And then the same thing kind of happened this year with the 100 being the first day, and the 200 was like the fourth or fifth day. So I kind of got that out of the way, and I think that kind of hurt my 200 because I didn't get much sleep the following few days. But in prelims, I went a big best time, and I knew I usually get faster at finals. So I think at semifinals was the most nerve wracking swim of the meet because like you obviously want to and need to get top eight to have a chance, and lucky enough to qualify first in that. So I knew going in that into the finals the next day that I had a pretty good chance. For the most part, I was just excited to be in the middle of the pool, and it was the second final session of the meet, so the hype was still pretty big since it's such a long meet. It kind of like goes in waves, but it was exciting. I knew I had a chance, and once I could see the guy both guys next to me, so I just tried to like maintain my stroke and not spin. I looked up and I think I was in shock. I mean, I was happy that I was able to achieve what I thought I was able to achieve before the race because I'm not usually that confident before races. But having been able to get two swims before it, I was like, all right, I think I can do this. I think I can go a pretty big best time. And yeah, I saw a second next to my name, and just kind of like that culmination of like training my entire life for it. That it was like, again, like hard to wrap my mind around, but yeah, it was pretty sweet. And it was pretty sweet being in the stadium we were in, because only trials finals experience I had was from high school, and I was swimming against like Ryan Lochte in that heat, so I knew the attention wasn't on me. And it was in a basketball arena, not a football stadium. So the bigger venue and being in lane four kind of got the nerves mixing with excitement, and definitely made the celebration a little bit more exciting too.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you said that you're not really, confident, I guess, going into your swims. And SwimSwam wrote an article, and it said Charlie Swanson on making surprise Olympic team. Was it a surprise for you that you made the team, or were you kind of like expecting it yourself?
I mean, I have like a good chance to race well whenever I am in a race of that magnitude. But I mean, I guess you could call the 100 a surprise. Might not have been a surprise on day two going to finals because I've been swimming so well that I kind of boosted my confidence for that. But I guess I was anticipating the 200 being my main focus of the meet. So yeah, surprising myself with the 100, I believe. But I think I had like, there's a bunch of fast swimmers. It's just like who hits their race the best. And I knew I had the potential that if I hit a good race, I could make it. So yeah, the 100 was a surprise, but I mean, there's a little bit of a surprise just to make the Olympics, but I'm just glad it happened, and I was able to just achieve a goal that I've had for so long. But that was exciting.
Yeah. It's a long, long way to go for the 100. You got prelims, semifinals, and then finals. And in each race, you managed to drop, from the last time you swam. So, how did you manage to do that? Because the non-swimmers that they're like, that's really like hard to do. So, especially in 100. So, did you do anything differently, or was it kind of just, the excitement going, along as you go? How did you do that?
I think I changed training locations this year. I went back to Michigan, so I was training with a new coach who is historically a good sprint coach. Like he coached at Cal last year and coached a lot of the guys who are here now for the sprint events. That was a big change. I had some outside factors weighing into that decision to leave Texas and come back to Michigan. But I didn't really train a lot of sprint the whole year. Really, I would do like a few practices here and there. I would also be constantly trying to like reevaluate things with Matt, my coach, and sometimes that would lead me training more sprint than I normally would for a few weeks, and then I would kind of fall back into the mid distance rhythm. I think the big thing was that I did a sprint taper. So we had a meet like 4 weeks out from trials, and we did like a week of just maintenance the week after, and then 3 weeks out, I started with the sprint group. So it was a lot of power work, like pulleys and power racks and parachutes and drag socks and a lot of equipment. So I was doing the lesser yardage aspect of sprint while getting the benefits of things, I guess, that I hadn't fully benefited from the rest of the year with like the power aspect. Like I'd done some, but not have power be the main focus of the workouts, because we would do like only a few thousand yards for most of our practices, but a lot of it would be like on pulleys and stuff like that. So focusing on that and maintaining my strength training, and at the same time like taking certain things out of training or maintaining that weightlifting and then kind of cutting it. I think that kind of switch up of how I've been training all year definitely helped, like physically, but also mentally. So I'm just trying to replicate that now as we kind of head towards Paris.
Yeah. So, like you mentioned, so let's take a deep dive into the technical part of swimming. I mean, it blows my mind how like versatile you are. I mean, you look up at the Nova team record boards. Your name is covered all over it. You're the ninth fastest American ever in the 100 breast, the 13th fastest American ever in the two breast, and the 10th fastest American ever in the 4 IM. And so, I mean, looking back, you've had so much success, like you said, in the two breast and the 4 IM. So, 100 breast come into the picture because those two events have been kind of like your two main ones for so long. So I know you mentioned the training change, but kind of what led to that decision to kind of go to the shorter event?
I mean, 4 a.m. was kind of like my thing in college, in high school and college, and like I was doing really well at it. I mean, Pan Am's was my best time in that, and then going into my senior year, then COVID happened, so that kind of ruined that whole thing. And I did one more year at Michigan in that 2020 2021 year, and I still was doing 400 IM in addition to like 200 breast, and 100 breast was kind of like if it didn't double up with anything, I would swim it. But that whole year was so hectic with like we weren't able to train with the college team for a few months, and then we would be able to again. And they'd be cut out of the water because of like state COVID restrictions and whatnot. So that kind of led into 2021 trials not being great. Like I think I was like the third seed, and I got like 13th or something, which was a tough pill to swallow. But I decided to go to Texas, and I was doing 4 a.m. work up until 2022 trials where I made the two breast. And after that, I was kind of like, I think I should just focus on breaststroke because 4 a.m. is getting super deep. The guys were consistently going many seconds faster than my best time. So I was like, I think it's time to let that ship sail and focus on breaststroke. And then did a year, 2 years of 200 breast work. And then I guess I didn't ever really focus on the 100 breast last year, and I was still able to break a minute. So that was like a big barrier that I'd always wanted to break. And in the back of my mind, most of my swimming career, I've known that, yeah, I think I could be like okay at sprinting. Like I got stuck on some relays in college. Like I begged to like be allowed to like not try out, but like train so I could show what I could do. So I was in like the 400 freestyle relay my last 2 years, junior, senior year. And then I was on the 200 freestyle relay once just because it didn't overlap with my other event, I think. Or like, I don't know, something on it once. It was fun. But I was like, would like look at Duncan Scott, who was a 400 IM. He can rip a 400 IM, but he can also rip 100 freestyle. We kind of have like the same body types, like pretty skinny and tall and lanky. But I was like, I think I can like somewhat do that. Like, I think I could have a pretty good 100 breast if I like had the right opportunity to swim it or like train for it for a little bit. And it's kind of now like my like I told you so. Like I'm like walking around, joking around, like I told you so. I told you I could do it. But I guess in reference to like your last question is kind of like this at trials, like pacing with Matt. He would like tell me how to swim it. I guess so. This is after prelims. I like came my second 50 was really fast. Like it surprised me how quick it was, and everyone's like, "When did you get that back half speed?" And I was like, "I don't really know." So my coach and I kind of figured out a plan. He was like, "All right, swim it this way." So I swam semifinals like that, and then finals again. I think semifinals was where I best executed it because that was my fastest second 50, and finals I just went out faster and died a little bit. But having him tell me what to do and figuring out like tempos and stroke rates and stroke counts and whatever kind of helped me, gives me something to think about these next few weeks and like the past few weeks, give me like a race plan for Paris. So now I'm just really trying to sharpen that and try to hit that the best I can come Paris. But I think I have a good amount more time I could drop. I definitely want to be under 59. I definitely want a final. I think when you drop that much time in 100, it can kind of be discouraging because you're like, am I going to be able to drop more? But based on how those swims felt, I feel like that's an instance where I learned the most from a race that I've been able to like, use afterwards in like my entire career. Maybe because it's 100 and it's not like four different strokes like a 4 a.m., but definitely have things that I'm constantly thinking about in practice that I want to be able to execute when the race comes.
That's definitely exciting. That's got to be a good feeling heading in Paris. So you talked about, you're swimming in Michigan, then you're swimming at Texas. I mean, everybody's swim journey is never the same. So let's kind of talk about your swimming adventures after college. So you said you're at Michigan. You took a fifth year at Michigan, and then you left for Texas. What was your like decision to go to Texas? Why did you decide to do that?
I think it's because that my last year in Michigan was so difficult. I don't remember if I was worried that it was going to continue being like that because I don't remember how much COVID affected things from like the first year to the second, but I think I just needed something new. Like I needed to be somewhere new and be around new people. Well, that sounds bad. Nothing against my coaches or friends, but like just experience something new as kind of a. I was on the fence whether I wanted to keep swimming, and I was like, I'll go somewhere and see if it like sparks something, or see if I like the new training really helps me, and it did. So I kept at it for another year and kind of stayed the same. Was not happy with my results, but I was like, all right, there's only one more year to go. But yeah, going to Texas was it was pretty much like always them. Like I just because Eddie Reese was there, and they had like the Foster brothers, like Jake swam breaststroke and Carson swam 4 IM, and then like Willa Cohn was there, who's a great breaststroker as well. So it seemed like the people that I was going to be able to train with was a great group of guys with a great coach, and in a city that everyone always says great things about. So yeah, that was decided to go down there. I think I like introduced myself to Wyatt Collins, the assistant at trials, and then called him up a few weeks after trials, and then kind of had a scramble for a few weeks of. That's a lie. I thought he moved out at the end of the summer. I actually moved between ISL stops in October, but yeah, I was just like, let's see. It's because it was like, why not? Like, I hope like if it works out, it works out. If not, I can be done and be happy that I tried something new. But here we are.
Exactly. I mean, Austin, it seems like fantastic cities, definitely on my bucket list of cities. So, were you training? Like, obviously, you're training full time in Austin. Were you working at all, or was it just strictly swimming?
Yeah. So my first year down there, I guess first 8 months or so, I was just swimming, and then made worlds, and that whole October to July when I started working, I would just come home and kind of sit around all day. I lived with my girlfriend for that first year before she moved back to Michigan for grad school. But I'd come home and like hang out with the dog. She would be at work most days, just like watch TV or play on my phone or something, walk the dog. And it was like, as nice as it sounds, it got pretty boring. And also, like, I'd only ever had one internship in college because of swimming took up so much time. And I wanted to like dip my toes into something that kept me busy, but also could help like build my resume up because I didn't have really much on it. So then I started that job in July. Actually, I just was it the 15th? I just started my past my 2 year anniversary a few days ago. But
Congratulations.
they have a office in Austin that I would go to a few times a week. And I would work from home the other 2 days. So yeah, it kept me busy. They were grateful enough to let me go fully remote. So I still work with them on in Michigan. I work from home. Yeah, it's been good so far. I've learned a lot of stuff. Definitely things that I'll be able to apply to the rest of my career.
Where do you work?
I work for a company called HPK Engineering. Uh, I'm not an engineer. I studied econ, but I don't really do the engineering stuff. I help the project managers mostly. So I don't really have to mess with the designing of the civil utilities that they help design. So they're a civil engineering firm.
Sounds pretty smart. And so then, after the years you were in Austin, you moved back to Michigan. Were you not satisfied with what was going on in Texas, or what was the main motivation to move back to Ann Arbor?
No, nothing bad against any of those Texas guys or coaches or anything. I just that year, like a I lived with my girlfriend for the first year, and then a friend of mine from Michigan who's doing his 5th year at Texas. the second year. And so like I was gonna be left with having to like live by myself or like live with one of the guys, which the rent there is pretty high and just a kind of overall like high cost of living. And that's just such a minuscule reason though. But I feel like the big thing was that like I had had an okay year, but the last year before trials, like because I was still like kind of on the fence, but like, all right, it's just one more year, why not? And kind of like the same reason I went to Texas, I was like, why not go back to Michigan? Like they were getting a whole new coaching staff, and Matt had just come from helping Cal win a national championship, and like other reasons, like my girlfriend lived up there, she was in grad school, she's from Ann Arbor, just being back in. I had gotten a little not bored of Ann Arbor, but needed to be somewhere new when I moved to Texas, and then I was kind of like to the point where I was every time I went back to Ann Arbor, like a football game or something, I was like, oh, I forgot how like amazing it is here. So coming back and like that sense of familiarity is nice again, and just having like a pretty good support system there. And it's also nowhere near as large and crowded as Austin. So, but yeah, it was just kind of like another why not situation. It's like it was risky, but if it didn't work out, I would have gotten to be in Ann Arbor for another year. And if it did work out, cool. Like the risk paid off, and that confidence in myself that I had moving back, that everything was going to be all right, would have worked out. So yeah, definitely glad I did. But yeah, nothing. I love all those Texas guys. I'm hanging out with them like every day. I'm rooming with Shane, who was a teammate in Texas. So one of my best friends.
Definitely big risk, big reward kind of thing. So
Yeah.
let's take a little break to ask some rapid fire questions here. Who would you say is your greatest mentor in the sport of swimming?
Oh man. I don't know. I guess I could say Jeff Brown because he kind of like coming into Nova. I didn't really join his group until sophomore year, maybe, and that's when I wasn't even considering swimming in college, and then I was able to progress to getting to go to Michigan. So I think he shaped my training mindset pretty well, I guess you could say.
So I was gonna do a little Jeff Brown segment later on, but I guess we'll get into that right now. So obviously, you and I are from the same club team. I have, if you weren't going to bring it up, I was going to bring up, Jeff Brown, the man, the myth, the legend, they say. So, I mean, for those who don't know, he was the founder of Nova, and he retired a couple years ago. So Charlie and I had the pleasure of being coached by him. So what was your relationship with Jeff like? He's a funny guy. I saw the video that he sent out with you, or saying we're excited to watch you in Paris. I told all my friends that you're going to do this. And he was like, what friends? So he's just like a goofy guy. But what was your relationship like with him?
Looking back, I had a really good group of friends and training partners. Like we were all able to push each other pretty constantly and we were able to have a good time in practice because it was always pretty. Best practices were pretty tough, but no, he definitely would rub me the wrong way sometimes. But we would try to like push his buttons, but he's like such a smart person that he was able to just outsmart us and like push it back on us, which was kind of annoying. But no, he's definitely. I mean, high schooler having a relationship with a coach is like hard to really like. I don't know if it's weird to say like have a mature relationship, but definitely whenever I would go back when I was in college, I was able to just have like great conversations with him and just like weird how like 1 year difference would kind of just we could just like talk about anything instead of talking about swimming all the time or be focused on the practice. Like we could talk about like things outside of the pool, but I haven't seen him in a while. But he texted me after my races and trials, so that was good to hear from him again. But no, he's definitely a smart man, and definitely was able to learn a lot from him. Looking back on it, maybe I didn't know at the time, but I think he's such a interesting person that definitely got a more unique coaching experience from him and one that benefited me, and I'm able to carry some of those things on even through today. So
For sure, for sure. I mean, smart. I don't even know if that does it justice. I mean, the talks that he would give, just the things that he would say, it made me think, what is he even saying? Like, this doesn't make any sense. Then I find myself thinking about, years down the road, and I'm just like, wow, like he was just way like he would always think, in the future and just how like he could prepare us. So I mean, he's definitely he even wrote his own book a couple like last year. So it's
didn't know that. I mean, he's probably closest person to philosopher that I've ever known.
oh yeah,
Just the way he thinks.
oh yeah. What was your favorite memory of Jeff?
Hmm. I think just the one that always comes to mind is like the times that he was mad at me. I guess like getting kicked out of practice or getting pulled out of the water. I don't know if you saw the video that Aaron Schultz made in TED, but like I think it was when we had made him so mad that we like wrote our own practices, and he would have to he would look over it to approve it or not. But I think it was during that. If not, that's another good story. But one time he pulled me out of the water and made me a. I must have been swimming slow. He made me like a bed of kickboards and like a pillow of kickboards. And I just laid there for a while. I think I actually almost fell asleep. He's like, "All right, get back in the water." Now I thought he was gonna. I thought he was gonna send me home. So I was like, kind of bummed when we get back in the water. But other than that, I think it's probably just being like around him at like NCSAs and stuff because he's always walking down the pool going like this or whatever. But
Yeah,
yeah, him just being always like on his feet and always, I feel like he always walked up, like went on walks or something. Could be making that up, but yeah, definitely the stories rooted in stubbornness. I think.
mhm, definitely. He's an interesting man, but a great man nonetheless. So let's yeah, he'll definitely bring that up to me when he listens to this. Oh, Aubrey, thank you so much for including me. He won't let me hear the end of it. So
Yeah,
what's your favorite pool that you swim in?
I guess I gotta say Lucas Oil. If not that though, like an actual pool, probably Budapest. Just the magnitude of it is pretty cool. It's huge.
Is there anything you're looking like specifically in a pool, or is it just kind of like the venue as a whole?
I think just the venue as a whole, like Budapest had just massive stands on each side. Like I've swum in some great pools, but they don't have. It's not as big of a room, I guess you could say. But like, yeah, Budapest was huge, and like the metal podium was like on the second floor at one of the. It wasn't just like on the pool deck. It was like probably 30 feet above the pool deck. So that was pretty sweet.
Seems pretty cool to me. So this next question is we're gonna take a little break from swimming. So who is your favorite Chargers fan? Or I mean player, sorry, player.
Player. Well, I mean, it was Mike Williams, and then he got traded, and then so did Keenan Allen. I guess like I got a Mike Williams jersey, and my girlfriend gave it to me. I was like, I think that's my favorite player, but I'm not sure he's going to be here next year. So now I might just have to get a Herbert jersey because he's like going to be there for a while. I guess you could say Justin Herbert too because he's. I mean, I'll die on the hill saying he's like a top five quarterback in the league right now. But it's just because he just has a trash. He's always had a trash team around him. So
All right. We'll see.
not trash team, trash O line or he didn't lose the Jaguars game. His defense did. So
It's true. You mentioned the O line. Are you excited for Joe Alt coming and step up?
I think it was the right pick. It was. I mean, there's so many good receivers on the board, but like it's definitely a top five lineman should probably be there his whole career. So it should be good.
Why are you a Chargers fan?
I just like I'm a Red Sox fan too. I don't I don't really follow hockey or basketball, but like my mom grew up in Connecticut, so we went to Maine when I was young, when I was playing baseball. So like my uncle was like, "Oh, become a Red Sox fan." I was like, "All right." And then Chargers, I don't know, I just liked the Dane Tomlinson and like the powder blue color, and I guess it all stemmed from I just never was a fan of the Washington teams. So because it didn't really feel like Virginia. Like I could have just as easily been a Panthers fan or something. It's like just as close. So
Now you decided to go all the way across the country.
yeah, mostly the color though. I think because I started liking them probably like middle school, and I started following them more in high school. But I did start liking them before they had the couple good years or goodish years. I liked them when they were at the lowest. So
Got to make sure people know that.
yeah,
Okay, so what's your go-to meal the night before a swim meet?
I don't really nothing in particular, honestly. Like at meets, I'll just eat whatever sounds good. I guess you could say at some meets I usually have like a sub for lunch every day, and then at dinner we'll either go get like pasta or I guess it's usually pasta or like an American like a grill or something, a grill place where you could get like burgers or sandwiches or like or pastas or anything. It's mostly just like where we are. But I guess at a meet, that'd be a good question for what I eat in Paris. I'll probably just keep it consistent with like pasta. I don't even like love pasta that much, but I know it has like carbs. So you gotta keep like your carb intake up. But yeah, mostly just whatever sounds good. Or like what restaurants are around whatever hotel I'm at.
Sounds good. So you've been now with the Olympic team for a good amount now. Who would you say is the funniest person on the Olympic team, swimming wise?
Probably gonna go with Shane. I feel like we're always just laughing in the room. Just from like TikToks or reels or just like reminiscing about something or someone. Yeah, I'll go with Shane.
So you've been swimming for a while. What's your biggest pet peeve in swimming?
I guess one that no one else seems to get, at least because they try to do it, is like if there's a hole, if half the pool doesn't have anyone swimming it, they'll like put their stuff in my lane. I'm just like, why not? Why don't you want your own lane? That kind of irks me. I guess like I definitely have pet peeves, but none that I can remember. But that's one I can recall often being pissed about.
It's like why me?
Yeah, like at least double with him, or just literally walk 3 lanes down, and you'll be able to swim by yourself.
Yeah, I feel that. I feel that. So now let's bring things back to the present. So you've had, just such a successful swim journey. I mean, you obviously have the talent to do what you do in the water, but talent doesn't mean anything without a great mindset. And now, in my opinion, swimming is about as mental as it is physical. So how do you handle the practices and meets and just days where you really, don't want to hop in the pool? What motivates you to just do what you do and be the best?
Yeah, that's interesting because I feel like the past few years I've come into contact with the situation a lot, especially like, the COVID year, but also like even this past year. I remember there was like a week or two where like I went to Matt and I was like, I'm like more motivated than I've ever been ever. He was like, you just gotta get through it. Like if we need to have you take a day off, we will. This didn't happen, but I think it's just like knowing you have to go to practice no matter how much it sucks, and kind of just like trying to keep in the back of your head that like I'm not getting worse at swimming if I don't have a good practice or two. Like it might be hard to like think otherwise in the moment or like not get down or like get down on yourself if you are having bad practices, but just like knowing that I've been training for like 17 years or something. Like I've done so many practices every week for that many years. Just like trusting your training and knowing like that those few days or even weeks like shouldn't affect you in the long run. As long as you can just like keep that strength of mind to like get through it. Like yeah, at least personally, I just try to tell myself like it's not that big of a deal. It won't hurt you as much as you think it will as long as you just keep at it. Because I know how to swim my races, and I like personally I started swimming not great in season for the past few years. A little bit better this year, at least towards trials. But like I would get out of a race and wouldn't have swam fast, and I'll be like, if I trust my training, taper will be fine. So that's kind of how I've gotten through the past few years when it comes to like racing, I guess. Just keeping at it, short and sweet.
Yeah, it's great. I think that that's very important, especially in your position. And then, kind of the flip side of that, how do you handle the pressures of swimming? Like I know in this podcast, you said that you always swim better at finals, and I know that's not the case for everybody. So how do you do that, and how do you just handle the pressure that comes with the sport?
I think it's just, I mean, I've been lucky enough to have swam in some like high pressure races that I guess I've kind of learned from that. But again, I think it's just comes back to like trusting your training. I mean, personally, I guess when I have not a great morning swim, I'll just think about that I'll most likely swim better at finals just because that's just how I've been my whole career. Is like I can't function in the morning sometimes, even in practice. Like if we have a harder practice in the morning, will be nowhere near as close to as good as if it was 5 hours later or something. I don't know if that's like a personal, just like how my body clock works or something, but yeah, I think it's just knowing what you're capable of, and I guess also just trying to, I guess, study how other people swim, so not to panic if they like get out ahead of you or whatnot, and just learning how to race too. Just honing in on what you're good at in races and trying to capitalize on where you could like make a move or whatnot. So that aspect as well.
Exactly. I mean, at the end of the day, you can only focus on yourself and worry about yourself. So I agree with that. So I know, right now, it's getting late there for you, but I know you're in the middle of training camp, getting ready, prepare. So what does a typical day look like for you?
So like wake up, eat breakfast, and we have two practice training sessions all for each day. They're like 3 hour blocks or 2.5 hour blocks from like 9:30 to 12, maybe 10 to 12. And then at night it's actually 7 to 9:30 is like the training block. So a couple there's a bus and some vans that run in like two groups on the way there. So my coach will or my assigned coach will text me when he wants the guys in that group to go over to the pool. So just kind of wake up with that in mind, go to breakfast, go to the pool, do my training, come back and eat, and then pretty much just relax for the rest of the day until I swim again. We might have some meetings in there, but there's also like a spa here, which is free, which is nice. So like there's a sauna and a cold pool. So a lot of us try to utilize that. And as we get close like to the meet, I feel like today is probably where I really started to start that taper. Like I've been obviously tapering because I'm with under a month, but like I'm really trying to hit that. I feel like I started today. So this week I'm only have one double tomorrow, and then I'll single, and I'll probably try to do them most in the morning because I don't want to be gone too late, and I can like go sit by the beach if I want to, go to the spa or get a flush or something. Yeah, I think an important thing being here because it's so nice is not getting distracted by what's here. Like you got to stay hydrated if you're going to the sauna or if you want to sit outside, not doing it for too long, or like wearing sunscreen or sitting in the shade or again staying hydrated. So I guess I'm past the double phase. Now it's just kind of maintaining and not getting too carried away. But it's definitely nice. Like we have snacks and stuff available to us. Like we have a team room and try to get a flush after practice every day. Maybe like an ice bath at the pool or stuff like that. So pretty sweet.
Yeah, it sounds luxurious, and just gotta stay consistent and then just know the task at hand. But yeah, no, that sounds like your days are very eventful. So just one last question here. Any thought of if you're or I guess where you're going to get the Olympic rings tattoo, or have you given any thought to that?
I have, yeah. I think it would either be on my back or bicep. I'm leaning towards bicep, and it sucks because I want it in color, but like apparently the color fades. Some people get it
Yeah, you got
outlined.
to re-ink it.
Yeah, some people get it outlined in black, but I might just do black. It might be like ask the tattoo guy when I get there, but I'll probably get it pretty soon after I get back, since I have a few like weddings and stuff to go to the rest of the summer. I'll probably have instances where I'm going to one in Idaho where it's on the lake, so I'll probably want to swim in the lake, so I gotta let it heal. So I get it done pretty quickly after, which I feel like a lot of people do that. So
Oh yeah,
yeah, we'll see.
you got to show it off too.
Yeah, this is true.
All right, Charlie. Well, it's been an absolute pleasure talking with you on this episode of Athlete Chronicles. Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to hop on and share just your knowledge and experience with us. Here in Richmond, we're all so proud of you, and we wish you the best of luck in Paris. And we really just can't wait to watch you represent the Stars and Stripes. So thank you.
Thanks. I appreciate it.
Shout out SportsE Media for allowing me to have this wonderful opportunity to share these stories of these amazing athletes. You can find Athlete Chronicles anywhere you get your podcast, so stay tuned for upcoming episodes.